Let's go to it's a doubleheader Friday night. Let's go to the second game. BYU Cougars, ranked 15th at this point. That'll be changing quickly after that. Underwhelming performances, 35-point favorites. Ugly against UTSA. Up against Houston Cougars. It's Cougar on Cougar. BYU had only allowed 24 points to Navy, Troy, and Louisiana Tech combined. They allowed 327 yards to the Roadrunners. Houston got their season underway. I mean, it was delayed for weeks because of COVID issues. They got off to a great start. 49-31 home win over Tulane. Clayton Tune, 20-33 passing for 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks for Houston. Houston turned it over 5 times, 4 in the first half, 1 in the second half, and still won easily. Remember, they're breaking in 33 junior college, FCS, and FBS transfers. BYU, Houston, let's take it away. First off, BYU opening up at -3.5. There are now 3s on the board. This total opened up at 63, and that's where it stays. Connor Mack, take it away. BYU, Houston.
Yeah, what I'm looking at here is the total. I think BYU will play better with Wilson. I think, man, that was a rough game they had. I think Algier will do well. The inexperience of Houston, that's my only why I haven't put the bet in yet at 63. I think they get theirs too. They can move the ball, but they're so inexperienced. But I still think BYU can hang easily, probably 40 on them. And I think Houston will get theirs. So I definitely I'm leaning on the over here, 63. I don't really have anything on the side, I don't really like it at that number, but I'm leaning the over 63 here.
Connor with a lean to the over in BYU Houston. Let's move over to Nolly Knows. What do you think of this spot? Friday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, BYU Houston.
I mean, I'm actually leaning towards the other side. And the big reason when you see Tulane, I mean, in Houston game, you mentioned they were able to get 31 points. A big reason for that was the 5 turnovers. So all in all, I thought Houston's defense was able to hold them down, and that's how they were able to come back and still blow out that team after giving up all those points. BYU here after the first game going over. They've gone 3 straight unders. This is a defense that I really, really like. They're very big up front. Mind you, always a couple years older than the rest. Even when you talk about their freshmen, they're always 2 years older. And this is, I think, a step up in class from what they've seen. Navy wasn't able to do anything. You got Troy, Louisiana Tech, and UTSA. I think Houston's talent level is a bit higher than those teams. So in my opinion, they'll be able to slow down BYU because he looked human. I mean, he was able to do whatever he wanted in those first few games, and I'm leaning towards the under, and I think I might make a move here.
All right, we have Connor leaning over. We have Nolly leaning under, and it sounds like that lean is going to be more than a lean and come to fruition. Let's see what John Ryan has to say about this spot. BYU Houston.
Well, I do remember being on the last show. I think it was Friday, Jimmy, and I was saying that BYU was going to win about 60-3 over UT San Antonio, and I couldn't have been more wrong in all my life. I saw that game in the first quarter, and I thought, there's still 3 quarters to go, and why worry about it, right? And then it got into the fourth quarter, and they really had to fight for their lives just to get out of there. And I did look at the box score and studied the plays and the whole. It was just a mess, and I can't believe a team that's ranked that can go undefeated on a weak schedule wouldn't show up to add some padded points just by blowing out an inferior team. And maybe what we learned is that maybe they're not an inferior team, UTSA. Maybe they're a lot better than what we thought, and BYU isn't as good as we thought. So with BYU in this game, it clearly comes down to that pivot level of 28 points again. BYU is horrible when they allow 28 or more. They're 1-6 the last 3 seasons, 28-96 the last 10. I have reason to believe, and I think Connor had mentioned it too, about Houston's offense. They have 19 of 22 starters coming back from last year, 10 of 11 on offense, all 5 offensive linemen. And who could deny that they're going to throw for at least 10 yards per pass attempt. And that's a lot. That's on the high end. That's like a Clemson you would expect. But nevertheless, BYU's 7-30 against the number the last 10 years when they faced an opponent and allowed 10 or more net passing yards per attempt. So my lean here, and I emphasize the word lean, just after last week getting your face ripped off with BYU and losing by that much, you're a little bit hesitant to make any analysis on that team. So I think here it's definitely they play on Houston, and then I think I would actually lean towards the under. I like the under a lot better than the side.
Interesting. So a lean towards Houston and a lean towards the under, and liking that more than the side. All righty. So no triggers pulled at this point. Again, we're sitting here Monday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. This game is Friday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Haven't seen much market movement. It depending on what books. I mean, it did. So I'm telling you that it opened at 3.5 Bet365. Other books open this up -4.5 at BYU. So that's for BYU. All right. Viper MB says sold on the under. Interesting. Very, very interesting.